What we're going to have a look at today is best opportunities of April, starting off with the 17th. We got three distinct opportunities. The 17th, good news followed by good news. The 23rd, bad news followed by good news. And then on the 30th of April, something that you're not typically looking out for, not part of narrative, but you've got to be aware of, you've got to have your eyes open for, was the yen intervention. And this is a classic buy the rumour, sell the fact trade. So let's start off with the 17th of April. What happened there? This is a great example of looking at a trade and sort of taking on an initial move, and particularly if you've got the sort of technical landscape for it, taking on the trade with the view that this can open up a larger continuation move. There's also a lot of value, or a lot to be said for the role of luck here. So let's go and break down what happened. First up, we have this comment. US considers a 20 billion cash for uranium deal with Iran. Now, what that will do is that's going to take the uranium, the enriched uranium, which is a big sticking point in the negotiations. Theoretically, that takes that out of Iran. If that happens, then you move closer and closer to a potential deal. That seems pretty good news. That's the first little bit of move. So in terms of the whole movement that we see here, that's only this bit. Markets that we're looking at just here, we're looking at oil, and in fact, we're looking at Euro stocks rather than S&P on this one. Now, this is the kind of trade that, particularly in the Euro stocks, at that point in time, you're taking out the highs of the morning range. And in doing so, what you're effectively setting up a continuation trade anyway. So for those who are slightly more technically minded, they're going to look at this as, yes, it's reasonably positive news in regard to the potential deal. But more importantly, this has set the sort of wheels in motion of a possible continuation trade. The luck comes in that sitting through this, waiting for that continuation trade, 20 minutes later, we then get the quote from Axia, the Iranian foreign minister, that the Strait of Hormuz is completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire. So the big sticking point, the big reason why oil is so high, being that it cannot get out of the Strait of Hormuz, that's gone. So now's the chance for the oil move. So if you're sitting in oil thinking, yep, technically this can go, then you get the big one. Same with Euro stocks. This is a great opportunity, and it's something that, you know, from a technical perspective, you would be looking for anyway. Yeah, if I said to you, you know, you get into this on a technical, you're looking at this thinking, well, I've got myself a little flag anyway. I'm in a great place. If this starts rolling over without any news, it would be a decent trade to just add on the break of the low or add on the break of this trend to try and take the next leg. The fact that you're basically told, sell it, because of the comment, this sets up a great opportunity. It was one of the bigger trades of the month. Oil at this stage, yeah, because you are sort of, you know, we're settling into the theme, if you will. You only get about a $5 move. I say only, it's still $5 in the course of about 10 minutes. So it's not to be sniffed at, but it's not quite the ferocity of some of the moves from earlier on in the month. The tricky bit on the 23rd was the large amount of contradictory news. Whilst it paid you very well on the 17th to be sitting in a position holding onto your trade, this is one that actually had a lot of sort of moving parts to it. So whilst, and this is always the contradiction in trading, whilst there is a lot of value for holding on, you also have to be willing to change your mind. So I'm not saying don't hold on to a trade you've got, but be willing to change your mind if a situation changes. Take this one, for example. We get relatively good news. Trump's going to attend a meeting between the ambassadors of Lebanon and Israel. So this potentially could lead to some positivity from that side. Ultimately doesn't produce any kind of deal. Then we get further sort of what I would call comments that add colour. That Khomeini is not functioning as supreme leader of Iran, does not give orders, does not control Iran. So essentially this means that then the other two big players in this story, Arachi and Galibaf, are ultimately the ones in control. 5 minutes later, Iranian parliament, Galibaf resigns. So the speaker of the Iranian parliament resigns. This throws a big spanner in the work, because if one of the key negotiators resigns, then the ability to negotiate, the ability to get a deal very much diminishes. We then later on get a contradictory comment coming from Pakistani sources that negotiations between US and Iran are continuing despite the current stalemate, and there are no changes to the ceasefire. So again, lots and lots of varying bits of information. This is where your technicals really play. What we got in oil, again, a bit like the previous one on the 17th, oil's sitting in quite a nice balanced range going into this. So you've started a cash session, relatively small range inside of the overnight session. So all the time throughout the beginning of the cash session, you're looking at this thinking, well, at some point, I'd at least be looking to see the edges of the overnight. Even if it's not quite this spike up from the middle of the night, I'd at least be looking at some point to be getting up here, say 95.75 or down towards around 92.23. So your targets are nicely set. When the uncertainty comes that Galibaf has resigned, that then kicks the move off. You've got time. You've got this space to get in. If you can get in, then we're just ticking off targets. Because of the significance of that news, that's what gets the move all the way through these upper targets, all the way up through the sort of 97.25 area. So puts you in around about a 300 tick move on this one. We then get the Pakistani sources comments, which take it back down. And this was the suggestion that the ceasefire was still in place, negotiations were still ongoing. So you had time to hold the initial story, but be nimble. When the new sources come, don't dismiss them because you like your position. Look at that information and trade off the back of that. It's a great example in the S&P here as well. I talked about this on a recent webinar. So if you do want to find out a bit more about that, come join one of our webinars and you can see a bit of how we sort of talk through trades. And this is a trade that one of our graduate traders was actually his best trade of the month. So want to go and have a look at this one. This was the reversal part of it. The ceasefire still being in place story. The S&P had dropped down into this support zone. This is your 1 minute chart. This was the original move down. So you got this steady continuation down into the support zone. So this has then set you up a perfect place to want to buy. The opportunity is not always just on whacking the news. In this one, the opportunity was very much on capturing this reversal. The range that you're looking at, 70.85 down to 70.76. We drop in there. This is the point where you're thinking, right, now I can play the reversal. This is where the opportunity came then, getting in on this little flag break to the upside. It's a 1 minute chart. Yeah, you're getting down onto the real detail of the trade here. But if you can capture part of that, just that first move gives you around about 30 points on the S&P. And then you get this drifting move all the way back up towards value as the day progresses and beyond. So it's not all just about whacking the news. And as any narrative gets older, in fact, leaning towards the technical side of things often is more advantageous because you've got the structure to lean on to take some of these trades. Speaking of technicals, we then have the yen intervention day. This was the final day of the month. And this is a move that starts early on in the day and continues. It sets the tone for the coming days as well. So this is then looking at the next 4 days. This was the end of the month. Then we have the big first, second and third of the month, or first, second and third days of the month. And each one you get continuation moves early on in the day, but they're all reversed very, very quickly. It's a buy the rumor, sell the fact. And so what we'd had in the morning on this day, we start off with getting closer to decisive step into the FX market. Then no change in stance that measures could be used on all fronts. Final warning before action. And then finally, later on in the day, confirmation that indeed Japan has intervened in the FX market. And I think looking at this move, you kind of knew that anyway. The key to a trade like this is flow. It's about recognizing those bursts of energy, the rationale as to why that's happening. You had those warning signs and these little bursts of energy, you really see it in terms of the delta And then the volume, the jumps in volume are absolutely gigantic. You look at this volume over here, you're seeing 120,000 contracts over the course of an hour. It's rare that you get over 20,000 contracts in any normal hour in the yen. So the volumes are enormous. The range of the day is gigantic. It takes out the previous couple of weeks' ranges. Once you get the story that they have indeed intervened, this is where the move stops. The move dies out because no one's going to keep buying now. If you know they've intervened now and they're telling you, well, they're probably not going to do any more. The key to this was recognizing the flow, either playing the quick bursts and giving up on it. So you're very much focused on the ladder, waiting for that burst of energy, or indeed looking at this from the perspective of the way that it's trading. If you can get in on that early one, then followed by some of those comments, the last chance before intervention comment, that's the one that you can sort of sit through it, you buy it until you hear the fact. Once you get the fact, then it's time to give up on that move. So real big lesson there on the buy the rumor, sell the fact. Perfect example of it. But the other part of this is recognizing the flow on a trade like that. So there we have it. Top 3 trades of the month. 2 following the Iran theme, continuing, and then finally a yen intervention trade. Not something you always see, but if you can study a trade like this, you're going to be far more ready for it in the next attempt or the next instance of it. This is all about making sure you debrief these trades. No one's going to tell you there's a yen intervention trade. Debrief your trades, work out exactly what it looks like. This is one of the things that we teach so many of our trainees, how to debrief these types of events, what to take from them.